Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the Ultra League, showcasing another very powerful ABB style team featuring Pideot in the back. Pideot can be quite strong, quite effective. It does have a bit of a learning curve, but if you can master that learning curve, it does prove to be quite powerful. And we are rolling with it as the closer, because it is a very powerful closer if you can preserve shields for it. A lot of people prepare for it on the lead, which is why we're closing with it. And also on this team, Mandibuzz on the safe swap. Mandibuzz also quite powerful, especially if you can grind out that best buddy boost, makes it even bulkier, even more effective. Mandibuzz on the safe swap is meant to draw out any hard counter to Pideot, particularly an ice type or a steel type, so that Registeel can come back in off of the lead to take out that hard counter. Registeel needs no explanation whatsoever in the Ultra League. This thing ranked 1 overall, and that is for good reason. It is quite bulky and quite powerful with its charge moves. You just have to really keep it away from Swampert and the fighters, which is why we've got these two Pokemon in the back. Pideot and Mandibuzz in the back were quite the combination, but here we go. Shadow Drapion lead. This is a very neutral lead for us. We are double resisting their fast move pressure, and we can hit them pretty hard with either of our charge moves, as they both hit for neutral, but generally you want to go for Zap Cannon, because you do have that very good chance of dropping their attack by 1 stage, which is exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to go for the Zap Cannon. They tank it because they can and make a play into Swampert. Swampert is not a very good safe swap. There are far too many flyers and grass types, most notably Trevenant, that are often lurking in the back, and that is exactly what we're seeing here. So we meet this with our Pideot, and we do shield the first move. That's generally what you want to do in the Swampert versus Pideot matchup, because it allows you to get off that debuff, and from here on out, you don't really have to be too concerned with the Hydro Cannons, even from a Shadow. Because lowering that attack by 2 stages can be quite devastating to a Swampert, and we are double resisting this fast move pressure, which makes this matchup even better for Pideot. Gonna fire off another Feather Dance. We don't quite want to debuff ourselves just yet. If you're leading with Pideot, I would highly encourage you to just throw that Brave Bird unless you absolutely have to stay in, because generally they do not respect the Brave Bird potential. They would much rather get 1 shot than give up a shield to shield up a Feather Dance, which is amazing. But they aggressively swap back in their Drapion, locking themselves in, and we actually meet this with Mandibuzz, and the reason why is because we knew that that Drapion was absolutely loaded. We now are at a 2 shield disadvantage, but that is absolutely fine, because the shielding priority with this team definitely goes to Pideot. We have 2 very tanky Pokemon on this team, so the shields are absolutely going to Pideot. And they've got a Trevenant in the back, so this is looking really good for us. Thank goodness we were able to avoid it with our Regi. And although our Pidgeot's health is quite low, we really don't need very much health to threaten this Trevenant here. So we are quite all right here. And we could arguably be baiting this Trevenant here, as it is their last Pokemon, basically. But that is a very minor nitpick. It's okay. We can just go straight for these Dark Pulses. We get to this next Dark Pulse, which means that we're saying bye-bye to the Trevenant. And now all they have left is that low health Swampert. They're going to have to throw a move. They are not there. There's no chance at all that they are farming us down. And they do throw, because they do realize that. And now we can just easily come back in with our Pideot and Wing Attack down. Holy smokes. Pideot and Mandibuzz going 2v3. You absolutely love to see it. Good game, well played. Guys, I truly believe the key to success in the Ultra League is ABB teams. If you're struggling and you're not running an ABB team, that's likely why. And here we go. Positively, we had a Tapu Fini, but they safe swap a Regirock to be exact. So, as good of a lead as that is, as juicy of a lead as that is, we have to stay in here to take this thing out. We've got 2 flyers in the back, so we do grab an early shield from them, and we will return the shield in kind, and they bait us. Holy smokes, that's a very risky bait that absolutely paid off for them, so good on them for that. And they had to bait, because they were behind on energy. Generally, in the Registeel versus Regirock matchup, if you're the Regirock and it's a fresh matchup, let's say on the lead, you will win that in the 2-shield and all even shields, I believe, because you win CMP tie and you will be able to get off your Focus Blast first. So do keep that in mind if you decide to run a Regirock on the lead and you run into a Registeel. And they shields are down on both ends. They do big damage with a Focus Blast and make a play into a Virizion. So we're going to meet this with our Pidgeot. And as I mentioned, shields are down, which makes this not very comfortable for our Pidgeot as they do hit us with a Stone Edge. But as you can see, we do tank that. And we're going to build up just as much as we can just before they get to a Sacred Sword. And we're going to go for the Brave Bird as Feather Dance would not have been enough. And that overfarm is going to be quite beneficial for us because it allows us to get off one last Brave Bird before they take us out, which does amazing chip damage. And now we're going to come in with our Mandibuzz because they have a fully healthy Tapu Fini remaining. And yeah, this one's getting a little sweaty here. Not going to lie, guys. Going to chip this Tapu Fini with an Aerial Ace because we do have a Zap Cannon, and I knew that it would not KO without some chip damage. And it still may not KO. That comes down to IVs. It does not, but they will not make it to a Surf before we can lock on down. And now I'm just hoping that we can get to a move, but I don't think... I knew that that was a long shot because they can't farm down and they can just Stone Edge us. And now it is coming down to the wire. Holy smokes. The question is... will a Stone Edge KO? In the midst of battle, I had a very strong feeling that it would not because Mandibuzz is an absolute monster. And my goodness, I didn't have faith in my Mandibuzz to hang in there long enough to get to a Dark Pulse. So we just threw the Aerial Ace, hoping that this plus an Air Slash can take it out. And it does. Holy smokes. Mandibuzz coming in super clutch, taking out the Regirock, which was an absolute menace to our team. Good game, well played. I think if you really want to run Pidgeot, the way the meta is now, I think having it as a closer is the best way to go. But here we go. Another Drapion lead. They make a play into a Scrafty, and it is Pidgeot time. We could go into either one of these if they choose to safe swap a Scrafty. Either one works. We just chose to go Pidgeot because Pidgeot is far more attack weighted, and our wing attacks are a little bit faster. And they dig in a little bit more on Scrafty. So going to go for the Feather Dance. We really don't need to go Brave Bird at all, really. And we did have to shield the first move. That's generally what you're going to have to do if you run Pidgeot. But if you have two absolute tanks on your team, much like Registeel and Mandibuzz, you can safely shield Pidgeot and be just fine, as both of the Pokemon are quite bulky and perform quite well when shields are down. So we take out that Scrafty, and because of our overfarm, we leave that matchup close to a Brave Bird to get that shield right back from the Drapion. They do respect the Brave Bird. Good on them for that. And now we will actually just come back in with our Registeel, and they got a Trevenant, so this is looking pretty darn good for our Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz almost as bad of a matchup for Trevenant as Pidgeot is. Not quite, because we only single resist their Shadow Ball, but still quite strong nonetheless. And we're gonna go for an Aerial Ace here. That's fine. They don't shield. That's fine. We can just farm down and leave this matchup with a move stored for that Drapion. They can throw whatever they want. It is all resisted and does no damage to our Mandibuzz. And we do get that farm down, and we do leave with the move locked and loaded for the Drapion. Now Drapion quite bulky. Even as a Shadow, this will do some decent chip damage. Obviously does not come anywhere near KOing, but that is quite alright. And now we just save the shield for Registeel here. And they are running Sludge Bomb, so good on them for that. You absolutely need Sludge Bomb if you're anticipating any dark types that you may be running into, or even fairies. And we do shield their first Crunch and play for the Zap Cannon debuff. And they do shield, they absolutely have to. We do get the attack drop, and they promptly top left as it was lights out. Not trending in the right direction for them, unfortunately, but good game, well played. So if you guys are itching to run double flyers, this is likely the best double flyer line that I think you could go for in the Ultra League. But here we go. Nightmare lead, Trevenant on the lead. We go into Mandibuzz on the safe swap, and they meet us with a Melodic. So very interesting pick, very unconventional. I wouldn't go so far as to call it spice. It's just quite unconventional, as it does have some very good play in the Ultra League. It's quite tanky, as we see there, and it can learn Blizzard and Hyper Beam. But we know that we are an absolute tank, and I'm thinking they're going to try and bait. And they do bait. Even if they did go for a Blizzard, it's non-stab, and we're about as tanky as it gets, so that's fine. Luckily, we called that correctly, and we go for the Dark Pulse there and grab an early shield from them. That is fantastic. Now I'm sure that they're just going to go straight Surf here, but it would be nice to take this thing out and control the alignment. So that's what we're going to play for here. This is just another Surf. We don't have to tank this, and we know that we will make it to another move. And we'll either grab another shield from them or flip switch with Mandibuzz. They're going to just go for the Aerial Ace. That's all we need. No need to go for the big Dark Pulse. And we grab the final shield. That is amazing. And can we take it out? We simultaneously KO. That's about as good as you could hope for there. We're pretty even now. We do have the shield advantage. And come in with Reggie. They meet us with the Trevenant. And now we're looking pretty good. Pidgeot up a shield beats just about everything in the meta outside of the steel types. And they've got a Gyarados in the back running Legacy Dragon Tail. Doesn't matter. They have no shields. Get to this Brave Bird and do big damage to the Gyarados. And now this is smooth sailing from here. We just shield up the potential crunch, wing attack down, and leave with a Brave Bird. Come on in with that Trevenant if you dare. And no, they do not. They knew it was lights out. They top left, and I don't blame them. Good game, well played. Yeah, I think leading with Pidgeot has just become way too predictable now. So many teams are prepared for it, which is why it's the best as a closer, I think, right now. But we had a Drapion, another Drapion. Holy smokes. But they aggressive swap into a Shadow Claw Giratina. So naturally, we're going to meet this with our normal type Pidgeot. And it doesn't look like they're running Ancient Power. It looks like they're running the classic conventional Shadow Claw, Dragon Claw, Shadow Sneak moveset, which works out well for us. We do get off a Feather Dance, and we don't have to shield anything here in this matchup. This is quite dominant for Pidgeot, which is why it has tremendous value in the Ultra League right now. And we're going to be very strategic on when we go for that big Brave Bird. We are just slowly but surely chipping away. We have now debuffed them to the max. So it is a complete waste of energy to go for another Feather Dance at this point. You can only drop a Pokemon's stat by a maximum of 4 stages. And we've done that. So now the play here is to build up as much as we can, get as close to a Brave Bird as possible. We do tank another Dragon Claw. They are resigned to just going straight Dragon Claw. That's all they can really do right now. And now we will just max out on energy and go for the Brave Bird here. I don't anticipate they will shield, and they don't. They cut their losses and let the Giratina go down. That works out beautifully for us because, yes, we have dropped our defense, but we maxed out on energy, which meant that we were only 2 wing attacks away from a Brave Bird, and we grab a shield. That is amazing. That is beautiful. I think that's the textbook way to play out that matchup. Could not have worked out better. So we are now back in on this Drapion with our Registeel. Going to let the crunch go. We are about as tanky as it gets, and they've got a Cobalion in the back, so this is very tricky, so naturally we're just going to bring in our Mandibuzz onto this, and this is why I do like Air Slash in this particular meta. I think it gives you the broadest coverage and is most consistent overall, I should say. And you just go straight Aerial Ace. It slowly but surely chips away at the very tanky Cobalion here. And as you can see, speaking of tanky, we definitely tank a Stone Edge. From that Cobalion, we don't anticipate shielding anything. They go Sacred Sword there, and they're going to go for another Sacred Sword. This is the power of Mandibuzz. The bulk is absolutely insane. We live another neutral Sacred Sword long enough to get off yet another Aerial Ace, and switch timer is up, so we're going into Reggie. We don't want to get farmed down. And that matchup lasted a very long time. So I'm thinking right about here that we might be approaching a potential timeout. the game clock might be popping up pretty soon here. And if you're aware of that, if you have that type of awareness, which you really need to have in the Ultra League, because it is very common for timeout victories to occur, you'll want to think ahead and strategize ahead and perhaps preserve a Pokemon just in case that happens. And they come back in with the Cobalion, and there it is. The timer's coming up, coming down to the wire. We've got the shield advantage. And we are very close to a Focus Blast. If you're met with a timer, throw your move just as fast as you get to it. That is the most efficient way to burn the clock. I'm imagining that we'll grab the shield, and we were saved by the bell right there. Holy smokes. That came down to the wire, but we preserved the Mandibuzz, strategizing ahead, and it paid off. Good game, well played. And guys, Pideot and Mandibuzz far exceeded my expectations. They were absolutely putting in work. And here we go, Pideot lead. This is the dream lead for Registeel. They make a play into a Galarian Stunfisk. So what we're going to do here, we are well ahead on energy. We're just going to look to put the pressure on this thing. And if they let it go, we can go right into Mandibuzz. They do let it go. They know that they tank it. And we tried to catch there. But I don't think that we did. They exercised some amazing discipline, perhaps even anticipating a catch. Very good on them for that. And they do go for the rock slides, but as you can see, although they are super effective, you would never think so with how little damage it is doing to Mandibuzz. That is absolutely insane. And they do make it to a third. They need 4 to KO, and they have to throw 4. They cannot farm down because of our flying typing, and we just wanted to get to a Dark Pulse here. And they do let the Dark Pulse go, and one Air Slash does the trick. That is beautiful. We control the alignment. We did not have to give up any shields. That is brilliant. So they come back in with the Pideot, and I didn't think that we would make it to the Dark Pulse. We just go for the Aerial Ace, take what damage we can get. It doesn't really matter because they get one shot by our Zap Cannon. We come in with Reggie, and they've got a Samurott in the bag, so we meet it with our Pideot, and they promptly top left. It was not trending in the right direction for them. Very interesting team for them. Good game, well played. Man, I had a lot of fun with this team, and yeah, a lot of success as well, let's just say. But not with a lead like this. That's a nightmare lead. We had a Trevenant. We go into Mandibuzz, and they meet us with a Regirock. So this is not looking so good for us, but we can hit this Regirock for neutral damage, and they need 2 Stone Edges to KO us. So we go for that Dark Pulse there. This is where Air Slash doesn't really help Mandibuzz at all as well, but I do still think that that is the ideal fast move that you'll want to run. I think it just gives you the broadest coverage overall. And they are going to fire off another Stone Edge. So yeah, they need a Stone Edge plus lock-ons. We're not quite going to make it to another Dark Pulse, so we're just going to chip with whatever damage we can get off here. It happens to be an Aerial Ace. Does laughable damage, but still some damage nonetheless. So now what we're going to look to do is obviously come back in with our Registeel here and hope like heck that Pideot can bring this home for us. Gonna tank this and preserve the shields for our Pideot, excuse me, and just overload slightly and go for the Focus Blast here. This is absolutely Focus Blast range, and they do let that go, and I do imagine they come back in with the Trevenant. We come in Pideot, and they've got another Reggie in the back. Man, the RPS phenomenon struck yet again there. Nothing we can do. Good game, well played. Yeah, guys, sometimes you're just going to be met with a team that you have no chance of beating. That's just how it is in Pokemon Go. But here we go. Another Trevenant lead, another Nightmare lead. So we go into our Mandibuzz, and they meet us with a Deoxys. So it looks like they are core broken by Mandibuzz. You absolutely love to see it. And they go Rock Slide. So they're running the recommended Rock Slide, but as we saw, non-stab rock slides from Pokemon that don't hit very hard just don't do any meaningful damage to Mandibuzz. It is quite astounding to see. A beautiful thing if you're the Mandibuzz. And we do go for a Dark Pulse. They do tank it as they can. DD is quite tanky in the Ultra League. Gonna go for yet another Dark Pulse. I don't think that this will quite KO. But they will not make it to another meaningful move, and we do Air Slash down. So again, Mandibuzz flipping switch yet again, and they reveal their third. So this is beautiful. Gonna fire off this Dark Pulse, and the only time that you can comfortably lock yourself in is if they have already revealed their entire team. I see so many trainers make the mistake of blindly locking their Pokemon in. You never ever want to do that until you know what the team is. Not saying that you should, but if you're going to, the only time to do it is when they have revealed their entire team, which is why we were completely comfortable coming in with the Reggie, just to entice them to throw a move, which they did. We tanked that EQ like a champ. They bring back in the Trev. We got off one Zap Cannon, and because we got the attack drop, we're able to get off a second one and pressure a shield. You absolutely love to see it. So we just wanted to throw Reggie in just to do what it could and entice them to perhaps bring back out that Trevenant. And the plan is working to perfection. It's just about lights out for them. This Trevenant can do absolutely nothing to our Pidgeot. We don't need to shield a thing, and we will look to farm them all the way down if they choose to stay in. They do not. Wise choice by them, but we have loaded energy. They come back in with the Gliscor, which is still relatively healthy, but not after that Feather Dance. We have lowered their attack by 2 stages. The shields will go to the Gliscor, as the Gliscor can actually hit us for neutral damage. And we're just going to fire off another Feather Dance. We don't need a charge move for that Trevenant. And if they want to shield, that's fine. No, they let it go. And yeah, it's just about lights out. Nighty-night, sleep tight for this poor Trevenant. It can do nothing to this Pidgeot. We got that wing attack through. We don't need to shield anything. It does not KO, and the Trevenant goes down. And just like that, Pidgeot has swept the end game. I'm telling you, Pidgeot, very, very good as the closer. I think if you're gonna run it as the closer. But as we can see, that is the team. Good game, well played to our opponent. And yeah, Pidgeot on the as the closer, quite powerful, quite effective, quite strong, especially when you can pair it with 2 absolute tanks like Registeel and Mandibuzz. Allows you to prioritize those shields for Pidgeot in the end game, which as we saw in many of those battles, I think that is the most effective strategy for Pidgeot. Run it as a closer, pair it with 2 tanks, allowing you to shield Pidgeot and bring the game home for you. So guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you guys.